And the top of the evening to you, everybody. Chris McDonald on this Thursday night, the 26th day of September, 2024. We're grateful to have everybody tonight. It's unfortunate that we've got to report what we've got to do tonight. Tonight's show is going to be just me. We've got some folks going to be talking. We're going to be talking to them over the phone here tonight, and about Hurricane Helene. It's going to be the crux of our show. We'll be taking your comments here throughout the night. If you're down in that Florida Gulf Coast area from Tallahassee to Perry, you're probably looking at another 2 hours, probably around 10 o'clock tonight, between 10 and 11 Eastern, which is, again, Category 4 storm, Helene, coming ashore. It is the largest hurricane of the Big Bend ever, the strongest and the most fastest moving that this region has ever seen. I grew up in this area, spent most of my young life. My dad moved us to South Georgia from Atlanta when I was 12 years old, and I lived down here pretty much for the next 20 some odd years of my life. I've been in Tennessee for about the last 20, but North Florida, South Georgia's home. And in all my years of ever living down there, I never have experienced anything. The only hurricane that I remember experiencing in Tallahassee was Hurricane Kate, and that was all the way back in 1985. And that was just a little Category 1 storm, and it tore up Tallahassee like you would not believe, the North Florida, South Georgia area. And there's been other storms that have come through. Hermine back in 2016, Adala last year, and then Ian hit more further south. I see Tony in the chat tonight, and we may get her on the phone here. They've been spared the worst of it in Southwest Florida, where they was not spared in 22 with Hurricane Ian. But this Gulf Coast area, the Big Bend of Tallahassee and Apalachicola, you that live in the Panhandle area, you all are experiencing a historic night. I'm watching the Weather Channel off here to my left, so if you see me glancing over there, that's what I'm looking at, trying to make sure we got updates. We got tornadoes breaking out tonight also in southeast Georgia, Savannah area, and also throughout other portions of the southeast. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 tornado warnings coming across that South Georgia coastline, that southeast coast, and that's the multifaceted part of this storm. Now, what we're going to do, I got a screen I want to show you. This is what we know as of 8 o'clock tonight, 1 hour before the last hurricane update. Helene, this is the wording from the National Hurricane Center. She is an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane, a maximum sustained wind of 130 miles an hour. However, there have been gusts reported in the hurricane to Category 5 status, basically up to 155 miles an hour. And they're concerned that it may even get stronger. She's roughly about 65, maybe 70 miles off the coast right now of that little inlet jaunt in the Big Bend area. We'll talk about that in your Cedar Key in a minute. But the storm was 80 miles west-southwest of Cedar Key, 115 miles due south of Tallahassee at 8 p.m., moving north-northeast. That's important, and I'll explain why in a minute. At 23 miles an hour. Governor Ron DeSantis said landfall is expected around 11 p.m. tonight. That's just a couple hours away. It could happen between the Wakulla, Jefferson County lines and Taylor County. That's the state's Big Bend region. Hurricane tropical force warnings are in effect across coastal areas of southern Florida, southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia, and inland as far north as Atlanta, and even into the eastern part, southeast part of Tennessee tonight. They're expecting tremendous damage tomorrow as this thing is moving like a train, and I'll explain more about that in a minute too. A storm surge warning is in effect for almost all of Florida's west coast. There is some possibility that we could have storm surge in some places, and they've called this unsurvivable, and that means if you're even in the path of it, you won't survive it. And this is how dangerous this storm has gotten. That could reach as high as 20 feet, folks. That is just unfathomable. I mean, to think about a 20-foot high wall of water coming in at possibly 30, 40 miles an hour inland, that is catastrophic damage and destruction. And they always say that the storm surge is always the most dangerous part of a hurricane, and they're right. Um, Based upon my knowledge of meteorology, it is always the most kill. That's what kills most people. Is the storm surge. The wind has some effect sometimes in the rain, but the storm surge is really the most dangerous part of a hurricane. 20 feet is what it's going to be in some places. A state of emergency has been declared in 61 of Florida's 67 counties, and several are under evacuation orders. But also tonight, there's a state of emergency in my home state of Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina. Tennessee's not declared one yet. Tennessee is going to get some effects of this, but the reason South Carolina and North Carolina are going to be under the gun, this thing, the way it's going, is supposed to tap into some moisture in the North Carolina mountains around Asheville. And due to some geographic conditions, Asheville, North Carolina, if you're listening to me tonight, in the western part of North Carolina, you're looking at possibly a foot of rain or more tomorrow, maybe 18 inches, a foot and a half, because of Helene, her effect. Atlanta, my hometown tonight, get ready. You're going to have hurricane force winds probably overnight into the wee hours of the morning. Southwest Georgia, Valdosta, Thomasville, Cairo, where my family lives and I grew up and graduated from. East of there, in mainly Valdosta East, you're looking at wind speeds over 100 miles an hour into the night. So we got a long night ahead. I want to bring on to the program tonight Sharon Crandall. Sharon is a good friend of the show. She came and was with us in Jacksonville at our conference, and we met her. She's in this heart of this, and I want to bring her on the phone and talk to us tonight. And we got some other friends that are coming. Sharon, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay so far.
Good, good. What part of Florida are you in?
I've got you on speaker. I'm back in my room. I am in southern, or I should say central west Florida. There's a little peninsula. If y'all look at the map of Florida, you see a little peninsula on the west coast.
Right.
That's where I live. So right now, I just stuck my head out the back window, and the wind is really bad. They're saying there's around 82-mile winds of gust. And the surge is from about 10 o'clock tonight to midnight for all those who are on the coast, and it's really bad. I have a friend that's in my Bible study. She sent me a picture, and her dock is underwater. That's not good. And there's a lot of power outages. My power's been going in and out, in and out. I have a generator, but it's not hooked up at the moment. My son lives about 6 miles south of here in Clearwater, and he has no electric, but he has a generator that kicks on automatically. So that's a good thing. But the weather is really nasty here.
And how far are you from Cedar Key?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'd have to.
But Tampa, in relation to Tampa, because how far are you from Tampa, roughly?
Well, not far.
Okay.
If you go out my subdivision and you go up Tampa Road, that turns into Hillsborough, and that's Tampa. So I'm on, I would say, 10 miles from Tampa.
Okay, so you're right on that coast. But the thing about that, Sharon, is interesting. You all are roughly 400 miles from Tallahassee, Florida, 300, and that storm is 300 miles away from you right now. And y'all are still getting, you said, about a 10-foot storm surge and 82-mile-an-hour winds. That's how powerful this storm is. It's unreal.
I was listening to the weather, and right now the eye of the storm, I'd say maybe 45 minutes ago, is 52 miles west out in the Gulf and a little bit north of us. And this is the bad part of the storm because it goes in a circle, and I'm not going to say that right, but we're getting like the back end. And
back into the eye, yeah.
Yeah, the back end of the eye. So when it was real calm, I took my dog out back and took care of that till tomorrow morning. But it's really wicked here. And there's about, I thought they said about a third of the power of Pinellas County was out of power. And that's a lot. It's hitting everyone a little bit differently, because my neighbor was out and she's 2 blocks away, and then hers came back on, so we must be on a different grid.
I was about to ask you, had you experienced any power outages? They say roughly 365,000 customers are without power tonight. So have you experienced that today?
Yes, but it came back on. It was about 3 times, and it came back on, and now I carry a little lantern with me because it's pitch dark when it goes out. I mean, you can't see your hand in front of you. So we have lanterns around, and we're doing that. But right now we're lucky because the air is still on, and actually my husband's watching football. And
well, I can't blame him. It's probably a good distraction from the hurricane, to be honest with you. I'd be watching football too if I wasn't doing the show right now.
Exactly. Well, the funny thing is he had cataract surgery yesterday, and that he was next to the last one, and everybody was trying to get out and get home to get prepared and blah, blah, blah. And we were the last ones out the door, literally. And I drove home in such torrential rain yesterday. It really scared me. And I don't scare that easily, but it was so bad because it's about a 45, 55-minute drive from where the surgery was to our house. And it just poured and poured. It was awful. So that was from the storm. And that was yesterday about 5 o'clock. So we've been dealing with this for over 24 hours.
Wow. Do you, how long have you lived down in Tampa area? I'm curious.
Well, you know I'm old, Chris, because you met me. So I've been here over 70 years.
Okay. Over 70 years. Have you ever seen a storm as strong as this one?
When I was a kid, I think Donna, that was in the 60s, and it was really bad, but I was a kid. This one is a little different because we've never had this kind of storm surge, and it doesn't affect me because my husband's worked for the government or the counties, and he always makes sure that when we buy a house, we always say we are high and dry as best we can be. So we're not affected by that, but it certainly affects a lot of people. And this is the worst they've said it's been in years and years and years, maybe 100 years. So
I heard that today too. I heard that the Tallahassee people said that, and I'm from there. I grew up there, at least not in the hometown, but I grew up there, and they said that this storm tonight is a 120-year phenomenon. They've not had a storm this big in the Big Bend, at least, for 120 years, and that's why I was asking. Do you are you hearing that y'all, the worst of your weather? I guess y'all are going to be improving, but people north of you is not. How much damage have you seen, Sharon, around the Tampa St. Pete area? Just curious.
Well, I've not been out because they encourage you to stay home, and so I did. I went out short bit this morning, and there was a lot of debris down, palm fronds, that kind of thing. But because it was so windy, it was either the streets are either loaded with debris or they were real clean because the wind swept them away. But in my neighborhood, I took a walk before the wind started, and there's a lot of branches and stuff down. And we have big oak trees, but we keep them trimmed. So everything we have are little bitty things. So I don't know what damage is, and I've got, we're in a Bible study, so we have a group going, and everybody's saying the same thing. They've got branches down and stuff, and so far no one is flooded except the one girl that's up, her dock is underwater, and she does live on a canal in Tarpon Springs.
Okay.
So I haven't seen anything, but that doesn't mean it's out there because they're reporting it on the news all the time. Clearwater's flooded. Gulfport, which is way south, is really bad. The Indian Rocks Beach, I saw the flood waters are horrible there. So it's not going to be pretty, and I'm sure our beaches are really in for some cleanup.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be praying for you. Thank you for the update, and we appreciate you so much. It was good to see you guys in Jacksonville. We'll be back to Jacksonville sometime soon to do part 2 of that conference, and maybe closer to you down there in Central South Florida. Anything you want to leave with the people tonight about this storm? Any thoughts about this historic event tonight? Because this is it's a big deal. We're dedicating the whole
It
show to it.
is.
I think it's a big deal, and I think that we're, if you think about it, Sharon, going back to 2016, and really that was the Trump era. We've
Yep.
had some massive, massive storms hit this
Yeah.
country. We've had some major hurricanes. There's been some big ones. Michael, Ian,
Yep.
Adala, Hermide in 2016, and Helene tonight. Idalia basically took the same exact path that this storm did tonight, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But any thoughts about this?
I just think it may be a little heads up. God might be talking to us or telling us something. Isn't there a book out there that I know you've promoted and I've read, As Israel Goes, Goes America?
Yes.
Did I say that right, Chris? Maybe we ought to get down on our knees and pray a little bit and ask for mercy and turn back to God. That would be my thought.
Well, I think that's the sentiment, and it does not go without saying that this storm formed 24 hours after Joe Biden went to the UN and trashed Israel and basically blamed Israel for the Hezbollah terrorist attacks. So
yes.
I don't think that,
yes.
that goes without notice to me. And I'm just noticing something that they've just upgraded the storm to another 10 miles an hour. It's up to 140 miles an hour. That just happened within the last hour. So this thing it's a monster. It's a train, and people that are in the path of it is going to be they're going to be in not a good shape. They're just not going to be in a good shape come tomorrow. And this thing is going all the way up into Tennessee. They're expecting power outages in my neighborhood, Asheville, Western North Carolina. So this thing ain't going to just be a hits the coast and disintegrates. It's a monster. It's a monster.
It's a whopper. It's a whopper. It's funny. And I have to be honest, we've been at a quilt retreat. So we all just came home and we were there for a week without internet or phones in the rooms, really kind of primitive. So I missed a lot of the news and what was going on. So I've still been trying to catch up because I just got home on Sunday. But so I didn't hear all of the Biden thing. But I'm sure that's in my notes. What my husband left to me. He's my personal reporter, so I count on him to keep me up to speed. And being without, it's funny being without internet that week was good because you need a break every once in a while. And I had my Bible and stuff, and Tammy was with me, and that was really good. But boy, I can't stand it. I have to know what's going on. It's just,
well,
whatever.
I've got to. Do a shameless plug. How was the conference in Jacksonville? So when people hear about these prophecy conferences, you're my commercial. Tell everybody they need to come to these prophecy conferences, correct?
Oh my gosh, you are missing so much. Chris, you are so good, and we're so grateful for how you teach us and the handouts. And they're just wonderful, and we can't get enough. And I'm just sorry you live way up there in Timbuktu, Tennessee, and that you don't live in my neck of the woods, because we could really use you here. We've got a lot of big time, what do I want to say, kindly churches that I'm not real happy about. But
I've been asked to go to every city. I've been asked to come to a lot of cities and start. I think I may just have to become the Apostle Paul and start a church, plant a church, and then turn it over to a good pastor and be the apostolic church builder of the 2025. Maybe that's what I need to do. Listen, Sharon, we got to run. So. I appreciate you being with us tonight. And listen, be safe. I'm glad to hear y'all are okay. You have power right now, correct?
I do. I'm good. And thank you all for your prayers, and you be safe too.
Thank you, Sharon. God bless. Have a good night. That's Sharon Crandall, folks. I want to thank Sharon for coming on. We got some other guests coming in just a second. She said something that I do want to mention. Sorry for my hat. This is not my regular cowboy hat, but I thought I'd wear one tonight. I want to say this, that there is some prophetic tones to this storm. I just as we were talking, we came on the air at 9, they updated the strength of this thing just roughly 30 minutes ago. It went up 10 more miles an hour. And had it had any more water to go, it probably would have reached Category 5 status. 140 is just like 5 to 7 miles per hour less for what a Category 5 storm would be. So, you folks in Florida tonight, whoever's in the path of this, please, 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 hunker down. I don't think anybody would be dumb enough to be out and about in the cars or on the streets tonight. But I pray wherever you're at tonight, you are in a safe place. If you're in a mobile home, please don't. I saw my sister today, and there are people that we know, family people we know, friends we know, that are riding this thing out in mobile homes. That is not wise. She begged them not to do it, and I told her to keep begging them. And it is not wise to be riding this stuff out in a mobile home. You will not survive this storm. And Tony says 20 feet is unsurvivable. It is unsurvivable. There's nobody, I don't care how strong your house couldn't survive that. If that wall of water hits a house, that house is gone. That's the kind of water and surge that Florida is facing tonight. And they're at Horseshoe Beach right now, along that cone in Florida, near Cedar Key. And the eye wall is getting very, very, very close to coming on shore. We're probably about an hour and a half out. And we're going to be on for a while tonight. We've got some other folks we're going to be calling. Maybe talking to my sister here in a little bit, depending on how late we're on tonight. But it's good to see everybody. Sharon, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you very, very much. If you got a question tonight or any comments, if you're in Florida, let me just say this. I know Tony is, but if there's any of our other guests or other folks that are here tonight, if any of you live, on the Panhandle area around that Big Bend area of Tallahassee, Perry, Cedar Key, if you're here and you live in that general area, just give me a thumbs up out there. Tell me where you're from, and we may get you to chime in on what's going on. It looks like the Panacea area. Panacea is just south of Tallahassee. They are getting bombarded now with hurricane force winds, and this thing is really, really getting ready to come on shore. It's imminent. I'm going to do this. I'm going to call Tony Salamone real quick. We're going to get her to come online and talk to us a little bit about what's going on in Southwest Florida. They're flooded down there tonight. They had tornadoes earlier. Let's see if she'll pick up the phone here. And
hello,
Miss Salamone, you're on live on the McFiles Thursday night. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing.
All righty, you're down there in Naples area, right?
Yeah, I evacuated because I'm in a mobile home and I wasn't staying.
You're in a mobile home. You did the smart thing. You didn't stay. You did the right thing. Wise choice. Now, you experienced Ian. We had you on the show. We did a show with you back in 22.
Yes.
In fact, it was this time of the year, and I'll tell you how I know, because I was at the National Quartet Convention, and I had you on the phone.
That's right.
And I wasn't able to go this year because of this, just needing to come down. I got a funeral this weekend, and just didn't work out this year. But I remember it was 2 years ago this week that Ian slammed Southwest Florida. It was category 5, right? Was that a 5
28,
or 4?
Yep. So it was a 5, and they said it would have been a 6, and it was September 28th.
So, wow, this is September 26th. So literally 2 years to the night. We've got Helene. Tell us what went on in Southwest Florida. Y'all didn't get the brunt of this one, but you did have some damage, didn't you? You had some tornadoes, and you also had some flooding.
Oh, going on all night, they said. It's, well, I left. I live in North Fort Myers, and I left yesterday, and they've had about 5 tornadoes touch down, a bunch of power outages, flooding. So I came down to Naples, and we're flooded here. I mean, all the bridges are closed. I couldn't get home if I wanted to. The street where I'm parked right now is completely flooded. It's coming up over the sidewalk. I'm just praying it doesn't come into the parking lot. And high tide is at 11 o'clock here and at 2 o'clock in Fort Myers. So they said it won't probably start receding until dawn, about 5, 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we're only tropical storm. We weren't even near the brunt of this.
I know, and that's how powerful this thing is. Y'all
powerful, monster.
Are y'all experiencing any more winds right now?
Yes, 90-mile-an-hour gusts in spots.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is unreal still. So how much are you with or without power?
I'm with.
Okay. Well, at 90 miles an hour, though, you're 400 miles away from the storm. 90-mile-an-hour gust. That should tell folks how big this wind field is.
Absolutely.
Tony, this is a monster. It's a monster storm.
It's. But here's something very interesting. I was just reading. In 1958, there was a storm. It was a devastating hurricane named Helene on the same day, September 26th, and it hit a Category 4 on September 26th.
Where did it hit?
66 years ago. 60s in Florida.
What part of Florida?
I think it was, I don't know. Oh, I don't even know.
Okay.
I'd have to look that back up.
That's all right.
But,
No, you ain't got to look it back up.
I don't think it was the Big Bend. Yeah, I don't think, but it was, but I said, oh, very interesting. God is speaking to us.
That is intriguing. I need to do better research myself. I would have been able to, I could have said, oh, that's interesting. So 1958, 66 years ago, that's sort of creepy. 66 years ago, same day, 926, a Category 4 storm called Helene hit Florida. So that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. What do you, you mentioned God speaking to us, Tony. What would you say God's saying to the country tonight? What would you say that He's saying to us?
You better get on your knees and repent, because judgment is at the door.
You think it's tied to Israel?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts about the things that's being said about Israel tonight by our government? They're basically, I heard today that our government has told Israel that there's an element of our government that is pushing a arms embargo against Israel, and they're telling Israel, we are not going to help you at all.
I know.
With your fight against Hezbollah. We're not going to send any kind of aid.
We're not sending you the weapons. We're not sending you the helicopters. We're not sending you. Yes. And you know what they're doing? They're calling judgment down on this country.
Well, are we not experiencing the type of judgment tonight with this hurricane?
You got it.
I know that the earth is travailing, and I know that we've been having these hurricanes for a while. We've been having these strong hurricanes for the last decade. It seems like the last 10 years, it's been brutal in this country. And Florida has taken a brunt of them. I know Ida hit Louisiana. There's been a couple that went up North Carolina. They had some catastrophic flooding in the Northeast from this last tropical storm Debbie.
Oh, Debbie. We had terrible flooding.
Y'all had terrible flooding with that. But there's just something about this storm tonight that is just a monster. And it just feels
chilling.
evil.
It's chilling.
It's chilling. That's the word I'm looking for. It feels chilling, don't it?
It's chilling. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I got goosebumps. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this about the Ian thing. 2 years later, because I remember you going through a very, very tough time with your job. You lost everything. You lost your income. You lost your job. You lost your way of living because all the rental houses were destroyed. How has that area recovered 2 years later from Ian?
Well, it's 90% of Fort Myers Beach, which is where my business is still destroyed. Building back up and as of right now, there's a 7-foot storm surge on Fort Myers Beach. It's underwater. So I don't know what's going to happen when this all dies down. I don't know what I'm going to find. I don't know.
Well, and the scary thing about that is you didn't take a direct hit. And you got 7-foot storm surge.
Yes.
You were probably 200 to 300 miles east of the center of this.
Yes, that's right.
So what are these people in North Florida tonight going to be facing this storm, Tony?
Prayers. I can't even imagine. And it's not just Florida.
No, it's not just Florida. It's coming.
Tennessee. I mean, it's and they don't even know where it's going once it. They don't know if it's going to bounce west, going to bounce east, but I mean, people are taking hits, and 20-foot storm surge. Nobody can survive that. Nobody can survive that.
Yeah.
12 foot in Ian, and 90% of the beach was decimated. The homes, I can't even tell you how catastrophic. 20 foot, and it could even be. It could go beyond that. So because this thing is still picking up. So pray, and listen.
Suffice it to say, the earth is shaking. That's all I got to
say.
The earth is
groaning, travailing.
It is.
Travailing. But God, in His mercy, He gives us warnings. He doesn't just send the flood and wipe us out. He gives us warning after warning after warning. We need to heed. We need to pray. We need to travail. We need to listen. Listen to the Lord.
Yeah, we do, buddy. No, we do. We do. We truly do. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on tonight, and our prayers for you. I'm glad you got power, and we will be in touch with you, okay? And I appreciate you. Have a good evening. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Appreciate you much. Bye-bye. God bless, friend. Tony Salamone, everybody. Put some fire in that house fire, and we are grateful she's okay, but we're sad to hear about the flooding and the tornadoes. Been a lot of tornadoes today. Um, I was I was driving down the road and my alarm went off about a tornado warning, and right in my area where I was driving, and it sort of caught me off guard a little bit. These how fast these rain squalls have been moving. I'm looking at the screen right now. This thing has picked up a mile an hour also in its speed. It's still moving north-northeast. I want to talk about that. She was talking about the wobbling. I think pretty much there's not enough room anymore for it to wobble anymore. It's going to go north-northeast. It's going to go east of Tallahassee. The west side of a hurricane is not as severe, but it can be bad. It doesn't mean just because you're on the west side or the east side. The east side definitely is going to have the greater severe weather, the tornadoes, the higher storm surge, the higher wind. But there's been some hurricanes that the west side has just been just as deadly. I'm looking at this monster right there. That's a Helene that you've got in the screen. That was her this afternoon coming up Florida in the Gulf. They said this thing has reached 400 miles wide at some point in her genesis. 400 miles wide. And the effects of Helene are going to be felt all the way up the East Coast tonight and tomorrow. I'm going to show you this map here. This is from the Hurricane Center. And I want to just, again, give a heads up to our friends up in East Tennessee. Now, this was an earlier map today. And the track there, I'm going to get my whiteboard out if you don't mind. The track of this storm actually is going to go a little bit further east. This is probably going to come right over here more than where this cone has it, and it's going to head right up here, and then it's going to turn to the left. Now I know that they've got it right here, the center of it, but the weather to the east of it is going to be centered right through here in these North Carolina, South Carolina, the foothills of South Carolina, the Black Hills of North Carolina, right through there. That's Asheville. That's about 2 hours east of me in Knoxville. They are expecting close to a foot of rain tomorrow, maybe a foot and a half. And widespread damage is going to be expected further north. There's going to be a lot of tornadoes along the coast here. And there's the power outages are going to be very widespread through here. So this is not over by any stretch. It's going to be a long, 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 dangerous night for this region, and really points east of here. It's really mainly here where I'm doing my doodling right there. Southeast Georgia, south central Georgia tonight, northeast Florida. And that storm surge is pushing in right here. The 20-foot storm surge is going to be here. Folks, that is unbelievable. My son sent me something last night that the Wakulla County officials were telling the people that if you don't evacuate, you're going to die. And they never use that kind of language because they don't want to put panic in a public, but they put panic in a public for good reason yesterday. They basically said if you don't get out of this area, you're going to perish and you're going to die. And I heard Governor DeSantis tonight, and I want to just give him a heads up. I feel like he has handled this beautifully. I've watched him today give press conferences, and he has been a voice of reason. He's told people what to do, to how to be prepared for things, and I do applaud him. As I'm speaking, it looks like this thing is getting ready to come on shore. We're probably within an hour. It looks like it has went back a little bit to the west. It's interesting. This thing has, it was going north-northeast, and it sort of seems like it's jolted back to the west just a little bit. All I can tell you, if you're from, I would say Tallahassee, Florida, to Jacksonville, Florida tonight, and I'm talking Perry, Madison, Live Oak, Lake City. If you're in that part of the country tonight, I would be hunkering down. Your weather is about to turn deadly. If you, I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. Somebody was on Facebook saying, well, we can't say it's deadly. Well, let me just talk straight to you folks. We got a deadly, dangerous hurricane on the way tonight. It's here. And look, I hope there's no loss of life. We pray there's no loss of life. But this is a deadly storm. It will cause death in its wake. It's just, I don't say that in glee, but it's a deadly storm. It can take lives if people are in the path of it, and we need to pray for those in the path of it. I saw somebody talking about Ian being a Category 4, um, and so forth. The bottom line is, whether it's a 4 or a 5, it still had Category 5 wind gust, and I believe Ian was a 5 myself. In fact, if I remember Ian correctly, they were arguing back and forth that it should have been rated a 5 because it was only about 3 or 4 miles an hour. So whether your house is blown away by 155 mile an hour winds or 152, I don't think it really matters much. It destroyed Southwest Florida. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And it destroyed an area. Yes, it was near Cape Fear. Thank you, Tony. I'm glad you checked that out. Cape Fear, North Carolina. That's interesting. And so forth. But who was the lady, who was the dear lady that said something about Sherry? You're 30 miles north of Atlanta, and I won't be able to sleep tonight, Sherry. Our pressure. Atlanta's my hometown. I know where you're at. Yeah, Atlanta's going to be in for a rough night. The Georgia folks, my folks in Georgia, you really need to be hunkering down. They've just issued a high wind warning for Lafayette, Madison, Taylor counties. That's Madison, Perry, and Wassissa, Florida. And what that warning is that it's not necessarily a tornado warning, but you to treat it like a tornado. The other threat tonight, east of this thing and northeast of it, are going to be the tornadoes. And these are going to be nighttime, nocturnal, fast-moving tornadoes that are going to be in these rain bands that are going to swing around from the right side of this storm. They're already swinging around on the southeast Georgia coast. Now, there was a hurricane back in 2005 called Ivan. It's called Ivan the Terrible. And Ivan was similar to this storm in the size of it and the wind field of it. And it was spawning tornadoes 300 to 400 miles away from the center. And that's what this one's doing tonight already. So you folks in South Carolina, North Carolina, Southeast Georgia, be alert tonight, extremely alert. It doesn't mean that other areas cannot see tornadoes, but that east quadrant, that northeast quadrant has always got the greatest spin and so forth. I'm looking at the TV over here. Perry, Florida is beginning to experience some of the eye wall coming on shore. So we're within an hour of some catastrophic weather. It's 9 o'clock Central Time. That means it's 10 o'clock in the east tonight. You're watching a very special live McFiles breaking news story tonight. We've got a few other folks that we're going to call on here in just a second to talk to us. We were hoping to have Sunday Tate with us tonight because she is part of the Georgia Emergency Management thing. I'm going to call my dear friend. I got a friend that was a member of my dad's church, and we were classmates, and she lives in Tallahassee tonight, and I want to give her a call. This is Julie. Just give me 1 second here. Julie Marie Baker and Guzman now. She's a Guzman. Let me see if she'll come on the line and talk to us a little bit what's going on in Tallahassee tonight. My sister's going to be with me here in a minute. You're going to get a treat to meet Jennifer.
Hello?
Julie.
Hey,
Chris McDonald, you're good. You're live tonight on my show. How are you doing tonight?
We're hunkering down.
Hunkering down. Now, Julie, you're I was telling the folks we go back a long way. We were classmates, and you went to Dad's church at West Street in Bainbridge, and we loved your family, and you know, my mom and dad both loved you to death, and I did too. And
yes.
it was great times then. Hey, you're in Tallahassee tonight. We got about an hour before landfall. Tell us what's going on in Tallahassee, because you're right in the bullseye of this thing, aren't you? You're right in the path of it.
Only south of us just a little, and a little east, but we are picking up the winds. They're just now starting in the top of the trees.
Yeah.
To really stay, and the rain's coming in sideways at times. But we still have electricity so far. And we live closer to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, and generally our lights will stay on when nobody else's will.
Right. I know where you're at. Yeah,
exactly.
That's Tallahassee Memorial. Have you experienced has there been any power outages tonight in Tallahassee?
Only a few. It's not like they had expected so far, but they're telling us now 11:30 and 12 is when we'll have the roughest.
Okay. Let me ask you
Somewhere
this. What does this storm going a little east mean? Because that's a big deal, because y'all could have been experiencing over 120, 130 mile an hour winds had this stayed on the course. But at the last minute this afternoon, around 4 o'clock, they shifted the path east instead of west, because that's 50 miles is going to make a difference in catastrophic damage with y'all, is it not?
Exactly. It's the difference between it hitting Tallahassee, which is a medium-sized city, and it will go over kind of the path of Idalia.
Right.
Idalia did the same thing. Now, Valdosta could be in the way and on up, but the winds won't be quite as strong up there. They're saying close to 100 miles an hour. Right now, we're having around 30, 35 mile an hour sustained winds in Tallahassee, but we haven't had those 140 mile an hour gusts yet.
Is your local is your local FEMA people telling you y'all are going to get something? What's the highest wind peak y'all think Tallahassee is going to get tonight? Any idea?
They still haven't given us a number, but all they're saying is that they're looking like it's going to go right east of us. So maybe we won't get as many, but the tornadic weather may be worse. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. You know, me and you've known each other over 50 years, my friend, and we've been in the same area of the country. It's hard to believe that, but have you ever seen this storm? Is the creepiest storm I've ever seen. Now, look, I study the weather. I'm a weather nut, and I miss my call and not being a weatherman, and this is my cup. I would be out there with Jim Cantori and these guys if the Weather Channel. If Chris wasn't called to do the McFiles, that's what I'd be doing. But have you ever seen a storm like this? I've heard words like it's the largest, fastest, strongest that the Big Bend has ever seen.
It reminds me of Michael, because when Michael was coming up, they predicted Cat 3, but it strengthened as it come on land to a 5. And I was in Bainbridge at the time, right, which is a little podunk, South Georgia town.
Where me and you went to school together, what?
Exactly. And those winds were around 90 to 100 miles an hour then. And so that's the only thing I can compare it to. I've lived in South Texas and all around. And this reminds me of Michael.
You think this one's going to be stronger?
I'm thinking it might be right along those lines.
Wow. Sort of off topic, but on the topic, you all had something happen in May that was unprecedented too. And I've been South Georgia, North Florida area for many, many years. My dad lived there and so forth, and I'm from there. But I've never seen the potent tornado that you had in May ever come through Tallahassee. I don't remember Tallahassee being hit with that kind of tornadic weather in May. Y'all had a very damaging tornado, didn't you?
We actually had 3.
3, that's right. You had 3, that's right.
Mm-hmm. And I have a son that lives on the south side, and they didn't have power for 2 weeks. And that's over by the Capitol area. And I have a son that lives over by FSU, Florida State. And they were totally, everything was destructive there. A tree was either in it, around it, or in front of it. So one or the other. And he actually works for the emergency management with the city here in Tallahassee, and he's working tonight. But he said that their cleanup crews, they had to call in a whole new contractor to help the city clean it up. It was so bad from the tornadoes.
I remember that. Boy, that was tough. Yeah, John, my brother, lives there too. Listen, how concerned you are about the power outages? Do you think y'all are looking at a 2 to 3 day event here if this thing hits the way it is, or do y'all? What's your gut feeling on this?
Yeah, if it gets like that, if it gets up with wind gusts of 100, 140 miles an hour, we won't have power around. That's for sure.
Yeah. How late you going to be up tonight?
I'll be up till the storm passes by.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we're going to stay on there for a while, and I may check back in with you in about an hour, And
That's
so hang loose. And listen,
yes.
it's so good to hear you and talk to you. And I'll be in touch with you after the show. But listen, stay safe tonight, and we'll check back in with you maybe in a 30 to 40 minutes when this thing starts coming on shore. Okay?
Appreciate it.
Julia,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Julie. God bless, friend. That's Julia, folks, and we're Julia Marie Baker Guzman, and she is a former classmate of mine and a dear, dear friend. She and her family were members of my dad's church in Bainbridge, Georgia for years, and we just no better person than that right there. Heart of gold, and her prayers for him. They're right in the heart of this thing tonight, and short notice, I sent her a message said, "Would you mind coming home?" I was holding my breath, and she's got a dry sense of humor. I was expecting a comeback or something, but she said, "Yeah, I'll come on." And but we're grateful for her. We're going to hopefully talk to Sunday Cloud Tate tonight. She's with the Georgia Department of Emergency Management, and we're going to try to get her on the line here before this is over with tonight. And folks, we're going to stay on for a little bit. We've got about an hour to landfall. It's 10 o'clock in the east. It's 9 o'clock Central Time tonight. And we're going to be calling my sister here in a minute. I'm looking at the weather right now. It is deteriorating rapidly along that Florida Gulf Coast at Horseshoe Beach and Perry, Cedar Key. The storm surge is beginning to take over and so forth. I want to just read a couple of the comments that we've got. And so forth. The let's see here. Let's see here. Mark McIntosh says his wife is in Mobile, supposed to fly to Atlanta to Pittsburgh and back home tomorrow. Already notified there will probably be delays if the winds are over 65 miles an hour. There's probably going to be a delay, Mark. Jean says, I'm in Maggie Valley. You're my neighbor, Jean. And they're expecting 9+ inches of rain, supposed to rain Friday and Saturday. Yep, that's what we were talking about earlier. And again, I want to say that you folks in North Carolina, Maggie Valley, I know exactly where you're at. It's a beautiful area there, Jean. Love Maggie Valley. It's a beautiful, beautiful time of the fall. And it's ironic that area in North Carolina, and I'm in East Tennessee, we've been experiencing a drought. We have been in an extreme drought. I've got to feel, Gene, this is not how we wanted to end the drought, but at least we won't have a drought after this. If there's a silver lining in what's coming, be safe up there because they are talking about catastrophic flooding in those mountains because there's something unique with that dynamic with Asheville, those mountains up there, and the way that the rain is going to start falling and coming down those mountain tops and so forth. It could be very dangerous. And this thing is, I heard Jim Cantore tonight. People joke about Jim Cantore being in your city, but he's one of the best weathermen out there. And he said something tonight that struck me. He said, we're in the first quarter of this. He said, this is just the beginning. And again, I think of what Tony was saying, that they were getting 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts down there today. She was I know where she's at. She was 300 to 400 miles east of this center of this storm. And if they were getting that kind of wind gusts, and I'm looking at this thing, and it is absolutely coming on that shoreline. It's probably within minutes. It's less than an hour now, and it's going to be on shore, I should say. It looks like it's coming in southeast of Tallahassee. Some of the worst weather is going to stay probably to the east, but I want to caution you that on the west side, and that would include extreme southwest Georgia, southeast Alabama, the Florida Panhandle tonight, all the way over maybe to Panama City, maybe a little east of there, Apalachicola. That wind field is still large, and the tropical storm force winds are going to extend outward about 175 miles. So don't be lulled into thinking that, well, it's going east of me or it's going southeast of me, so I'm not in the bad part of it. There is no good part of a hurricane. There's just no good part of a hurricane. This is a weatherman talking to you tonight. Be alert. Be safe tonight. But you folks in Perry and Wakulla County, St. Mark's, please be alert. In the next hour, you are about to get into some very, very, very serious weather. And our prayers are going out to you tonight. Truly. Very, very serious situation. Do I have any people? I know I see a few folks out there with statements about Florida, and I'm glad you all are safe. Um, if you got any questions tonight or so forth, Sandy Sutherland says Ken's youngest son and family live in Navarre, Florida. It's funny, Sandy. That's where Brandon wound up, Navarre, Milton area, and Brandon and Alyssa and the babies went and evacuated today or yesterday. Started yesterday because it was just too dangerous in that trailer. What they travel in the country with to be stationary where he was going to be. And regardless of where this hurricane came, east or west of him, he was going to be in the bullseye. And I know exactly where that's at. I've got friends down there, so our prayers for them tonight. They're way west of this. They're probably not going to be in any harm's way of this. Thank God. The Western Panhandle will be spared this one. But anyway. Cleo says they're concerned for sewer problems. She says, update from a minute ago, Treasure Island is 4 feet above and peak is Treasure Island 4 feet above and peak is starting in an hour and expected to be 8 feet surge, reporting now to use less water and flushing toilet. They're concerned for sewer problems and to use less water. That is again going to be the plight of many for the next 48 hours, because the next 48 to 72 hours is going to be a long weekend, folks, because without power, I don't doubt there's going to be water sewage issues like this. Again, this is all part of this terrible hurricane, and very, very serious situation going on tonight. There is other news. We were going to have we were going to have Jennifer Harrison on. We were going to have her on Monday night to talk about this indictment about the New York City mayor, Eric Adams. There's trouble in paradise. Let me just say this. There's trouble in Democrat paradise tonight because the mayor of New York City has been indicted, and there's an appeals court that's listening to the Letitia James situation with Trump. And what I was hearing tonight from different news sources is that they're not too happy with Letitia James, that they're showing very deep skepticism about the case itself, and I hope that that's a good sign that they're going to throw this thing out and throw the book at her. But anyway, that's for Monday. Tonight it's about Hurricane Helene. Now I'm going to call, if you'll bear with me here, I'm going to call another Jennifer that I know very, very well, and let's see here, where's she at? Right there. Let me see here. Let me call her, and let's see here. She'll behave herself when she answers the phone. Let's see here. Hey, sis.
Hey.
How are you doing? You're on live with me tonight. You're on the McFiles. How are you doing? Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
This is Jennifer Swanner. She should introduce herself. I thought I erased her and taught her better than that. This is Jennifer Swanner, my sister. She's in Cairo, and listen, reason I'm calling you, the hurricane has come on shore. What's your weather like there tonight in Southwest Georgia?
Well, the rain's picked up some. It's a little windy outside, I believe. But other than that, we're just waiting for it to get here.
When is the worst of your weather? Paul is a fireman. He's part of the fire people, and they're on standby tonight. But what's the local people telling you when's the worst weather coming into Southwest Georgia?
Oh, gosh, about 12 in the morning, I believe.
So that's going to be a lot of people are going to be in bed and hopefully probably up. It would be a lot. It's going to be all night for a lot of folks, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to be able to sleep through that. Yeah. And I think there's like 40 or more people that are at the some center here in Cairo. They opened up a shelter here in Cairo.
Yeah.
The Culture Center, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. From what you're hearing, things changed. I saw you this afternoon, and it shifted east this afternoon. How relieved are the people in Grady County with the FEMA people that it shifted east? Because that's going to mean a little bit Cairo is not going to be hit as hard as maybe points east, like Valdosta, Thomasville, and over there in the southeast part, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that a relief to you?
Yeah. I mean, we're still going to get a lot of it, so.
We're brother and sister. This is how we talk. So just don't pay us any mind. We're just having a typical brother and sister chat, with the exception of a few things that we usually say to each other that we can't repeat online. But tell me, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I got Paul in my ear too. That's my husband. That's Chris's brother-in-law.
Right.
So I got him in my ear too. So he's trying to
put Paul on the phone. I'm glad he's there. Put him on the phone.
Okay. Can I put you on speaker?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, all right. Here's that. This is Paul. All right, so me and Paul are talking.
Hey, Paul.
You better go ahead.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man, good to hear from you tonight. Listen, you're on live on my show tonight. We're trying to get an idea of what's going on in Grady County. I know you're part of the volunteer fire department there. What are y'all expecting here later around midnight? What kind of winds are you expecting there in Grady County?
Cairo's never seen 100-mile-an-hour winds. We're expected to see 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Wow. Are y'all still expecting that even with the path of it going a little east of you?
I don't know that. That was probably when we heard that talk, that was probably 8 hours ago. So, okay. I don't know, since it's kind of turted to the east a little bit more, I don't know.
Okay. But you're still expecting some catastrophic damage up there because you got the flooding and the not necessarily the storm surge, but it's nighttime and the water and the wind and the tornadoes are still a big threat there in South Georgia, correct?
Oh man, 100%. Yep.
Paul, we've known your family. You've been to our family a long time, but we've been in Cairo a long time. I don't think I've ever seen anything this damaging to Cairo. Michael sort of did some damage there, but I'm would argue tonight that Helene is a more dangerous storm than Michael could have ever been, and that storm tore up Grady County pretty good.
I think Michael was up to 50 miles.
See, Michael went across Donaldsonville.
Right.
Okay. So we caught a little bit of that, but there again, it was still, we saw, 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds?
Right. And we just lost the phone call. Jennifer's phone either died or somebody hit the wrong button. Let me try her back. They may have lost power. Give me 1 second. Paul is a volunteer fire department for Grady County, and that's why I'm glad he was there to talk to me. He's probably going to be out in the field tonight. Let's see if we can get him back, and if we can, there we go. Jen, you there?
Yeah,
we're
still here.
There. Paul, as I was saying, I think this one's going to be a lot more dangerous to Grady County tonight and the southwest part of Georgia and southeast, points east into Valdosta, buddy, than Michael ever was, don't you?
Well, that's what everybody's saying, and that's what's kind of freaking the situation out. And, you look at that thing, we're looking at it, on TV and all, you look at that, typically your east side of that storm is always the intensive side. You look at this one, there's intensity on the west side of it.
That's exactly right. I'm glad you said that, because there's a lot of people, I think, being lulled to sleep thinking that you got to be on the east side, but that west side is filled in. There's a lot of rain and wind on that west, and y'all are pretty much in that quadrant, are you not?
We own that side of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, I know you're going to be out and about tonight. You be safe, bro, and listen, keep us posted, and I know y'all will be up, and we're going to be here on the air for a while, and if y'all begin to see damage or see something going on, text me. We'll get you back on and bring you back on here, okay?
For sure. It's going to be hard to see tonight. I think protocol is going to be to see what happens first thing in the morning. That's going to be protocol. We won't roll if it's 35 mile an hour plus winds.
I've heard that. Yeah, it's funny. That's what the Weather Channel said. The guy in Perry they had some FEMA people there, and that's exactly what they said to him. They said if it's 35 mile an hour or greater winds, they would not be going out to do any surveys tonight. So it's going to be a long night for a lot of people. Bro, whatever y'all do, y'all be safe. We love you both. Y'all be safe, my friend.
Love you.
Love you both. Jennifer, love you too, baby. God bless you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye now. Jen Swanner, that's my sister. I love her. And that's Paul. she, I didn't think she was going to come on and do this. She did tell me, I have to give Jen a little heads up, a little shout out. We had, as you know, some of you don't know, my niece, Kaylee Grace, her daughter, got saved a couple of weeks ago. And she's going to get baptized the 20th. That's my dad's birthday. It's on a Sunday. We're going to be there. And then I'm going to baptize her again. And I was talking to my sister about it. And Jennifer responded. Her response was the response of the decade. She says, that's all right. She needs to be baptized. She probably needs to be baptized twice anyway. If you knew my niece, you'd understand that comment. But she heard me and say that Kaylee Grace, God help the devil, when Kaylee Grace gets a little older and the Lord unleashes her on the devil, he's in trouble. And that's a true statement. So, but we're family, and I'm grateful for her and Paul. I'm truly grateful for her and Paul being with me tonight. All righty. Now, we are going to, let's come over here. Liz Goldman says, don't forget to fill the bathtub with water so you can put in toilet tank for ability to flush. That's a good idea, Liz. Roger, you've got family in Punta Gorda. That's an interesting city. They said it's the worst flooding in 30 years there. My brother is riding out the storm in Riverview. He said it's not too bad there. And that's good. That's good to hear there, Roger. I'm glad to hear that. But it's going to be a rough night, folks, all the way around. If you're in Florida tonight, give us a thumbs up. If you're in that northern part of Florida. Let's see, Roger. Lena says, we're in Gainesville, Georgia. I know where that's at. I know where Gainesville. I got an uncle in Blair's Gainesville. Gainesville. Lawrenceville, I should say, Lena. She said, we've had a lot of rain in the last 2 days. My fear is down trees due to the wind coupled with the ground being saturated. That is a very, very legitimate concern, Lena. That's what they're saying tonight, too, because the ground is saturated. North Georgia, my state of Tennessee, we've had copious amounts of rain due to a front before even the main hurricanes coming on shore. I'm looking around. It's live at 10:20. It is still a Cat 4. It's still 140 miles an hour wind sustained. And Mike Bettis is in Cedar Key, and it looks like the rain is coming sideways now. You heard, was it Julie? Julie said that the wind and the rain in Tallahassee is going sideways as well. It's already beginning to go sideways. That's not a good sign. And but you can look at the TV. There's gusts getting close to hurricane force at Cedar Key. They've already had some damage over there, looks like. And I just want to stress this again tonight, folks. If you're in the path of this storm, I don't care if it's west of it, east of it, be prepared for power outages later tonight. And I hope that you got prepared today before this, whatever your state is. It's pretty much what it may be for the next 72 hours, because there's going to be massive damage in the wake of this storm. There's no doubt about it. You heard Paul talking about they're going to probably go out and survey things in the morning, and we'll probably have an update tomorrow night sometime. Not know how long the show will be, but we'll definitely have an update of all the damage. Right now, they're saying that most of the state of Florida is under the influence of tropical storm winds, and I don't doubt that. Widespread power outages are mounting. I think the last number we saw was 365,000 Floridians are without power. That number is going to go up very, very large and very soon tonight. And the storm is not quite on the land, but it's going to get on the land very soon here. And all. Let's see here. Who else did I? So Janet says our friends from Naples are here in Ohio, supposed to go back in the morning flying into Punta Gorda. Their daughter tried to get their vehicle to get it out of possible flooding, but could not get there due to flooding. They are uncertain of the flight. There's got a lot of that. Going to be a lot of uncertainty tonight. Vera, thank you for the prayers for these folks. Any word on Bradley, Florida, LC? I'm not sure where Bradley's at. I'm just curious. Let me see where Bradley is at. If Bradley is in that Big Bend area, it's in Polk County. And I'm trying to see where that's at. Let's see where Bradley, Florida is at on a map. No word on it. That's all I can tell you. Let's see if this tells me a little bit. All right, Bradley would be, it is down there near Lakeland and south. I would say, Elsie, that region has probably seen the worst of the weather already. That's because the storm has moved north of there. The storm has moved north of there. So I would say whatever is going on there will be improving as the night goes on compared to other parts of the state. Bradley's in the central part. So not hearing about any damage or anything down there. But that's east of Tampa. Looks like about 100 miles or so. So I think they will be okay. Probably the small threat of tornadoes the rest of the night. But that too is going to be sort of easing as they get more to morning. Our biggest concern right now, as I'm looking at this screen, is points southeast of Tallahassee, and that's going to be near Madison, Perry, Cedar Key. It looks like where this thing's going to come on shore, Horseshoe Beach, Lake City, Live Oak, and points north and northeast of there. You are about to experience hurricane plus Category 4 winds in this eye wall, up to 140 miles an hour. The winds are gusting higher. There's higher gusts. There's gusts up to 160. Pressure's dropping to 939. That's dropped 22 points in the last 4 hours. That's how this thing exploded over the open Gulf this afternoon. And very similar to what Michael did. I think it was Tony that mentioned that Michael intensified over that. All righty. Let me see here. While we're waiting for this to come on shore, and I don't seem to have any questions, too many questions, let me do this. I've got some, at least I'll do some memes with you, and then we're going to wrap this up tonight. And we may check in with Julie one more time before we go home tonight, because I'm not going to stay up till midnight with you, but we're going to stay up for a while. This thing is getting ready to come on shore. But I do want to just share a few memes with you outside the scope of the weather to take our mind off of this and so forth. But we're grateful you've been with us tonight. And again, there are other stories. Speaking of the one and only Kaylee Grace Swanner, Uncle Chris was in town today, and this is what happens when I see my darling. Uncle Chris always brings a gift. I gave her that Bible right there and dedicated it to her, and that's a sweet kid right there. She's getting tall. She is really getting tall, and we had a good time, and Uncle Chris gave her some uncle advice and had a little prayer with her, and told her to make sure she just gave that Bible 15 minutes of her time, read a chapter a day. A chapter a day to keep the devil away. That's a good saying, isn't it? Chapter a day will keep the devil away. Now, this one right here, all I got to say is I had another comment for her. I just told her we were going to forego the baptism and we were just going to go straight for the exorcist. And she looked at me as if, what's an exorcist, Uncle Chris? That's Nat. That's why I love my nieces. And look at that face. Look at that face. That's two precious girls right there. That's my sister's daughters, the ones you just heard. By the way, I love this one. If you'll give me 1 minute here. I love this little meme right here. It's not a meme, it's a statement. We the people, by the way, we're voting for Trump. We're the people are voting for Trump. Give me a thumbs up in the house on that. If you're voting for Trump tonight, I'll agree with that one. And a couple of more of these. I got to show you this. This is so funny. I'll let this speak for itself. And this is why you Don't just arbitrarily share something from a Christian account, because even Christians post dumb stuff. But this was sent to me today. As we celebrate Halloween as Christians, we don't celebrate Halloween as Christians, which we don't. But I had to laugh when I saw this, because the account that it came from said that Halloween 2024 is on Friday the 13th for the first time in 666 years. Well, I mean, I'm just a South Georgia boy. Halloween is October the 31st, not the 13th, so it can't be on Friday. I checked, it's on a Thursday. And I don't even know if they celebrated Halloween 666 years ago. I'll just let you, whatever. But just understand that Christians do not get it right all the time. And we don't celebrate Halloween. That part of it is true. We don't celebrate, and we shouldn't celebrate it. By the way, I want you to look at this picture of the storm from earlier this afternoon. This is back on Helene. I took a screenshot of this. This is, look at that storm. That is all convection. That was about 4 hours ago, and it was south. Let me get my, where's my whiteboard at? Here. Did I delete it? Well, I deleted it. Well, let me try it again then. I got to show you this because this is interesting. This thing was going this way. This, as of this morning, it had actually shifted, and it was going to come up the western side of Georgia and then take off to the northeast. But this afternoon, it started a little journey this way. And my sister is right through here. Julie is right through here. Sharon is down here where she was talking to us from. And so forth. So had this went this way, this area right here would have been pummeled. Tallahassee is right there where Julie's at. Tallahassee may not even be on the map tonight. But what happened is this is a less populated area, so the hand of God, if you don't believe the hand of God is working tonight a little bit, it shifted this way. While we were praying for the folks here, the population is not as big here as it is in Tallahassee. And then it's going to come up here and so forth. But look at that monster, folks. That at that point, that storm was only 120 miles an hour at like 4 o'clock this afternoon. In a matter of 4 hours and only just a little short area, that's not a lot of water. This thing exploded. It's at 140 miles an hour. It went from a Category 3 to a Category 4, bordering on a Category 5. So it's headed right here. It's where it's going. That's Cedar Key right there. That's where most of the damage. I'm looking at pictures right now. Horseshoe Beach. There's a house that the waves are hitting so hard, I'm surprised the house is even still standing right now. And you can almost see the storm surge picking up. But catastrophic damage. But I just, that image sort of sums up how intense this hurricane is. Here's another one that shows you is, well, look, that deep dark convection there in the middle. That's nothing but thunderstorms and convection. That's how deadly this thing is, how big it is. Look how big that is. That's the other thing. Folks, that is incredible. If you just take this right here, and even if it goes right here, all the points here, if you can see my lines, and I probably should change this into white because it would probably help a little bit, wouldn't it? Let me lighten this up a little bit so we can see it. But points here and here, that's how big this thing is. The effects of it are going to be felt here. Even though the path of it is this narrow, the effects of it are going to be at least 200 miles to the east, 200 miles to the west. So, again, we got a lot of folks that are going to be in for a long night. Very serious situation. A couple of other memes for you. Not to bring up a sore subject, but to bring up a sore subject, all of these people right here have one thing in common. They all stood up to Democrats, and they all were shot. I'll let you make your own comment about that. Let me see here. I have to share this one. I think we need to laugh tonight with the story of the hurricane going on, but McDonald's has got a new candle out, And the flavor of the candle is broken ice cream machine. And for those of you that have ever visited McDonald's, if you would if you can relate to the broken ice cream machine smell of the McDonald candle, put a thumbs up in the house. Put a thumbs up in the house. So that's a little levity. By the way, I'm a Batman fan. And rumor is it that Batman even is unable to keep up with the rising crime rate in Gotham City as they elect another Democrat. By the way, that Democrat they elected is in trouble tonight. We got Jennifer Harrison. We got two new guests coming with us Monday night. She's going to be bringing a couple of friends with her from the New York area that have got inside information on that indictment. That'll be our Monday guest, and then James R. Late. But Eric Adams in some trouble tonight. Serious trouble. Conspiracy, wire fraud, and some other things. Not good. Not good, not good, not good. Now, this one was, I don't know who posted this. This was somebody's Instagram account. But it says, they are getting suspicious about the shooter arrest Diddy. There's rumblings that P. Diddy's about to turn on some folks. And if he does, P. Diddy did not kill himself. That's all we got to say. That's all we got to say. Oh, that's funny. The McDonald broken ice cream machine candle. Lord have mercy. Oh, we the people are voting for Trump. One more, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up tonight. We may check in with Julie here one more time before we go to bed. Here, you've heard about the Project 2025 that they claim Trump is pushing. Well, this is Kamala's 2025, just so we get it straight. Citizenship for 20 million illegals, ban gas-powered cars, replace police with social workers, ban fracking, transgender surgeries for minors. By the way, did you hear about the transgender guy in jail that got the judge ordered the prison to perform the sex surgery on him? He killed a baby, murdered a baby in cold blood. Hideous looking person. Hideous. Just whacked it up. Whacked the baby up. But they're going to give this guy a transgender surgery because he don't feel like he's a man. She backs this stuff. Taxpayer-funded reparations. Her and Al Sharpton promised that this week. Pack the U.S. Supreme Court. Folks, if she gets in, that's what they're going to do. The Supreme Court will no longer be a Supreme Court. It will be a partisan body. And we may never get another ruling in favor of Republicans ever again, or conservatives, and certainly not Christians. Government and big tech censorship, cashless bail for violent criminals, federal takeover of all elections, that's what's coming. Use tax dollars to fund abortion. She's screaming about it tonight. She believes there's to be no restriction on abortion. Enforce racist affirmative action, mandate vaccinations, and require government approval to buy a gun. That's her project. 2025. And if I was Donald Trump, I'd run this ad. I'll be more than happy to make Donald Trump an ad with the Project 2025 on it. Just for Kamala, or whatever. But anyway, I think that's all we got tonight. And here is John McNaughton. He painted this, President Trump. It's a great picture. Excellent, beautiful print, and McNaughton art. That's beautiful with the U.S. flag. That's the fight, fight, fight symbol. And our prayers for President Trump tonight. Our prayers for President Trump. All right. Now, we've been going an hour and 23 minutes, so we've not been going that long. We've not been going that long. It is approximately, we're about a half hour. It looks like this thing is coming on shore right now. And my goodness, at that wind field, and that the convection area, the area of convection, folks, is so big. And I'm telling you folks to the west, Paul made a comment. He made a comment that about the west side of this hurricane. This west side is looking to me almost to be as dangerous as the east side tonight. There's a lot of convection on that west side. So you folks west of this area of Taylor County, Madison County, Wakulla County, Jefferson County in Florida, please be alert tonight for the next several hours and so forth. I'm going to do this one more time. Let me check with let's see here. Let me see if I can get Julie to answer the phone one more time, because I want to just check in with her in Tallahassee. Here, because we talked to her, and it looks like the weather is about to get bad. Any more comments? Any more questions, Garland? Look, I'm not going to. I know you think Trump will win. Let's just say we hope he wins. We hope he wins. Garland, if we had a sane country, I would say if we could be assured that the elections were fair, and we would be assured that people thought reasonably, if we could be assured that people use their brains instead of something else they sit on to think with, then I would agree with that statement. I'm not confident. I'm not overconfident that he will win. I've talked to too many people, and I have seen too many posts, and I've seen posts coming from Christians and things being said by believers that make me believe that there's such deception on the hearts and minds of people. Let me tell you this, Garland. You know, I think it was Tony that talked about we had a hurricane in 1958 called Helene. It hit Cape Fear, North Carolina. Very similar in strength. On this day, can you believe this? 66 years ago today, same day of history, 9/26, 66 years ago, yeah, 1958. We've had 58 years to, respond. There's been hurricanes, there's been natural disasters that the Lord has tried to allow the earth to go through. And there are some things that I believe the earth is travailing over. There's some things I believe God allows to happen, and he controls the weather. I'm firmly in belief of that. But even this hurricane tonight ain't going to wake folks up. This hurricane should wake us up. It's dangerous. It's a historic, prophetic hurricane. Did you know what Helene means tonight, folks? It means torch and light. That's what it means. And it means warming. I thought it meant warning, but it really means warming. It strictly means torch and light. It speaks of light. And it's trying to enlighten us to the fact that the earth is a-shaking and the earth is travailing. But even a Category 4, close to a Category 5 hurricane coming across Florida tonight, I'm afraid it's not even going to make a dent in most people's hearts and minds. It just won't. It's sad. Garland, I hope he does, but I'm not going to put my hand on the Bible. I'm not going to be that arrogant and say Trump will win, because I don't know. I think of the two candidates, he's the best, and I certainly don't want Kamala's Project 2025, but Garland, there's some folks out there that do, and some folks out there that probably shock you that they do. So, just a thought, just food for thought there, brother. Just food for thought. Wesley Hale says maybe Trump will get in and put 2 more in, make it Supreme Court justices. Wesley, we don't know about that. We'll see. I sort of know what you're referring to, and don't count on it. I mean, you got to have, if he replaces 2 conservatives with a conservative, that's just a wash. What would happen if some of the Democrat voices leave the court, then it makes a difference. And I know what you're alluding to, and I wouldn't be putting my faith in that. I wouldn't be putting my faith in that. Because even if he did, it ain't going to change this country. And if she packs the Supreme Court, if she gets in, it's not going to be good. There won't be no conservatives on there. It won't matter. And I'm not trying to take issue with what you're saying. I understand what you're coming from. Maybe he will. Maybe he will, but it ain't going to save anything. It'll just pause it. Jennifer, I think your comment is very wise. If she wins, let's pray the Republicans win both the House and the Senate. That is a key, and that is really the only hope. If this thing goes south with the presidential part, a Republican House and a Republican Senate can stop her from doing most of her damage. It won't stop all of it because she can do executive orders over them and around them. But we still have three branches of government, at least as of tonight we do. It's a good point. Excellent point. Very excellent point. Absolutely excellent point there. And I think that is well said. And I certainly hope that happens. Let's see here. We got, did I see Michelle Cindy in the house just now? Let's see here. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. No, it wasn't Michelle. Who was that? Kimberly, prayers for those in the line of the storm. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Roger, the evil of it has been celebrated for 2,000 years. But ultimately, it don't matter to me whether it was 666 or whatever. The post was stupid. I mean, the post was stupid. I mean, but Christians do that to get likes and so forth. It's not, there's nothing good and redeemable about Halloween. That is not my point. But posts like that, it just makes us look stupid. It just makes us look stupid. Anyway, Halloween, the evil of it is in the hearts of men. It's just a night. But the evil that it represents goes on past October 31st. Because I can tell you what, November the 1st, we're just as evil on November the 1st as we are on October 31st. And this has got to be changed. This has got to be changed. And, but anyway, I understand where you're coming from. Evil's been on this earth. Roger, I would say that evil's been on the earth longer than 2,000 years. Evil's been on this earth from the day Adam fell. So that's about 6,000 years. So, anyway. It's good to see you tonight, man. I'm praying for your brother down there in Florida. Praying for your brother down there tonight in Florida. I really am. All righty, folks. Listen, it's an hour and a half. Brandon, you know, I tend to agree with what you're saying. It's going to be tough. I mean, look, if she wins, it's going to be a rough time for the country. It is. I mean, her agenda is going to be as evil as can be. And I mean, I tell you what it's going to do, Brandon. The Christian church, we're about to find out a lot about the true Christianity, the true Christian church in America. We're about to find out a lot about the church in this country if Kamala Harris wins. I think we're about to see, if you think, if there was never a time that we didn't understand what was apostate and what was true, we're about to find out. We're about to find out. And I would go further, Brandon, we're about to find out if Trump wins. What the true church is going to be and what the apostate system is going to be. But especially about Harris. Because, sadly, what the apostate church don't realize is supporting her tonight, she's about to take their right away to be the church, period. She is not going to make it easy on the church. So, I'm not going to say we're screwed, but it's not going to be good for the country. And it's not going to be good for people of faith. All righty, folks. We are at 9:46. I'm waiting to see if... All right, Julie, I'm going to call her back one more time, and then we're going to say goodnight. Let me get her back on the phone, because she's got an update here in Tallahassee. Things are going downhill from there. So let me see if she can come back on here real quick. And then we'll say goodnight to you.
Hello.
Hey, Julia, we got you back one more time.
All right. everybody.
How are you? You were
Still
saying
here.
that you've got some update on the weather just since we've talked to you. You said the winds have picked up to now 70 miles an hour. Wow, you're getting hurricane gusts in Tallahassee tonight.
That's right. They were just saying that Perry is getting 125-mile-per-hour gust, and that's where it's closer to going in Taylor County down there.
Yeah, and that is where a lot of these hurricanes of the past have gone through. And
Exactly.
that Cedar,
went through there.
that Cedar Key area is like a magnet, isn't it? I tell you what, Cedar Key, Perry, Taylor County, and that just seems to be a magnet when these hurricanes come off the Gulf like this.
It's like a turning point. It
sure
is.
It is. It's very rare.
They were saying for everyone to shelter in place. All the shelters are full. The roads are now, they don't want you on the roads due to trees being down. Our power is still here, but like I was telling you before, we live kind of between the hospitals, closer to the larger one, and we're one of the last ones to go out, and it comes back up as soon as possible. But my son that lives on the south side, his power is out.
Okay, so there is power outages in Tallahassee tonight then.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, listen, has there been any reports of flooding or anything else, or just the wind picking up and the rain?
Well, there is the 20-foot storm surge down around Perry and up around Apalachicola and Steamhatchee in that way. They're saying around 12 feet. So it's very dangerous. There's never been a 20-foot storm surge on the East Coast. So that's kind of very dangerous there.
Yeah. How concerned are you tonight in Tallahassee for this? You know, one thing I've noticed today is that they were talking about the number of trees in Tallahassee, and they're very concerned that there's going to be a lot of tree damage from this because the ground's saturated and the trees are very easily swayed with this wind. Is that a concern? We just lost Julie. That's the second time that's happened tonight. We've lost the phone. We're probably internet signal with the weather probably causing some of that tonight. I'm sorry about that. We lost you there. Is there a concern about the tree damage there? Because I was here today with the trees in Tallahassee, and it's a beautiful city. I used to live there, but with this wind, that's going to be a big concern about power lines and trees on houses, right?
Exactly. Especially since we have so many canopy roads where the trees actually meet in the middle, and they're more concerned about power lines that way and all around town, actually, especially if a tree falls and there's a live wire under.
Right. We lost her again. We've lost her again. We probably are having some weather issues with the phone there. Hang on just a second.
You've reached Julie Guzman.
She's probably lost her phone. That phone's dead. It may have been the line. Could be the power lines went down and the phone line's gone down. So anyway, we'll see if she calls back here in a minute. So we're getting an update that the thing has come online, 120-mile-an-hour wind gust in Perry, Florida tonight. That is on the cone of the Big Bend. Tallahassee's experiencing 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So that means you folks in South Georgia, y'all are within an hour of seeing your weather go downhill. And evidently there's some things going on with the network, this interference, because I just lost Julie and she's not calling back. So there's something going on there. Well, listen, we're going to get her to update us tomorrow, and we'll get some other folks in there. I've had you an hour and a half. I'm going to let you go now. Please be safe out there tonight. We hope you've enjoyed this coverage of the hurricane, and we pray for the safety of all those involved tonight. And thank you all for your comments and being with us tonight. And so forth. Spring Guidry, prayer sent from South Louisiana. Spring, we send our prayers back to South Louisiana. God bless you guys over there. And prayers for all those in Helene. Jeannie, good to see you tonight. Roger, good to see you. Janet, all of you in Facebook. Dennis Floyd. And Dennis, I would say that maybe the country may not, I'm not going to say it won't exist, but it won't be the same country as we know it tonight. I'll grant you that, my friend. I'll grant you that. But Jimmy Lemons, good to see you. And Gwen says, praying in South Alabama. Well, Gwen, prayers to you tonight, and thank you for that. And God bless you, friend. I want to thank Sharon, Tony, Julie, Jennifer, and Paul Swanner, all of you, all of them that came on tonight to give us an update of this storm. And wish we could stay up all night with you, but we can't. We got to get some rest. But I will be back tomorrow night for an update. It will be a short show. Not sure what time, probably early. And then we'll be back in the morning on the Bible study. And whatever we know overnight from now till then on the Bible study, we'll update it in the morning too. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. Folks, it suffices it to say this is a dangerous night in the South. Please be safe, and our prayers that no death occur with the storm. But it is officially on shore. The eye wall is on shore at Cedar Key, Florida, near Perry, Florida. 120-mile-an-hour winds. 120-mile-an-hour winds with higher gusts that's coming. So very, very dangerous night tonight. And folks inland, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, heads up. Helene's coming your way, and Tennessee too. So be safe out there. I'll see you back here in the morning on the Faith Network, and then tomorrow night here on the news. God bless you guys. Have a good night.